I really think that what we're creating here is the ultimate language learning reading experience. I haven't been as excited about something since I actually wrote my first books of short story over 10 years ago. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Story Learning podcast. Right, today we're going to do something a little bit different because I'm going to transport you behind the scenes of Story Learning, and I'm going to show you the new app that I've been building. It's not finished, it's a work in progress, but I thought you might like to see behind the scenes and just get a sneak peek into what's going on, what I'm making, because, I don't know, I think it might be interesting. If it's not interesting, well, you'll be the judge of that. Now, the app is not released yet. Like, you can't get this yet. I don't even know when we're going to release it, frankly, or if we release it at all. If it's not good enough, I won't release it. But currently, I'm pretty excited about it. In fact, I haven't been as excited about something probably since I actually wrote my first books of short stories over 10 years ago. And I had just had this feeling that the thing that I'm making here is going to be really, really useful for people, and people are really going to like it. So I've got a similar feeling with this. Time will tell whether that's justified or not, or whether there's just a much ado about nothing. But that's what I'm going to show you today. Now, if you are watching on video, I'm going to show you some stuff on the iPad here. If you are listening on audio, I'll make sure I'm explaining what's going on. Remember, you can watch the video on Spotify and on YouTube as well, so you can always switch over if you'd like to see what we got here. And also, if you'd like to be on the wait list for the app when it eventually comes out, then you can go to storylearning.com/app. All right, the storylearning.com/app. When we do release this, it's going to be very, very small batches. We're going to be letting a few people in at a time to test it out so that we can catch any bugs and make sure that we are making the right features and all of that. And it will be in order of people who have signed up to that wait list, right? So if you would like to be one of the early ones to come in and help us test the app, please do join the wait list, storylearning.com/app. We'll put a link in the description as well. So what's going on with this app then? Well, first of all, here is for those of you watching the video, here's a little screenshot of what it currently looks like. This is the welcome page, and I'll show you a bit more soon. Here's the idea, right? So our books have been phenomenally successful. They've sold over 2 million copies, and they're in bookshops all around the world. People have really, really enjoyed them. People use them for their own learning. Teachers use them, and I couldn't be more thrilled about the success of the books. But a book has an inherent limitation, which is that it's a finite set of stories. In my books, it's 8 stories, and the stories are not like they've been written not for you personally, right? The stories have been written as stories, and it takes no account of your actual language level. So they're not personalized to you. Also, I don't know what vocabulary you know, right? And so I put word lists in, but inevitably your level is going to be slightly off and slightly different. It's, I guess, as good as the books are, they are not, like, it's only an approximation as to your exact level, right? The best that you can do is decide, okay, am I going to read your beginner books or the intermediate books? And that's really as personalized as we can make it. So I started thinking, what if I could actually write stories that were personalized to your exact level, so that you could read a story and tell me, Ollie, yeah, that's a little bit too easy, or it's a little bit too hard, or it's a bit too short. I'd like it to be a little bit longer. And so I could write another story then that would be more suited to your preferences. So eventually we get to a level that's perfect for your reading comprehension. It's exactly where you like it. It's the length that you like it, so you get appropriately challenged. And it's also in the genres that you like. If you don't like romance stories, you're not going to get a romance story. If you like thrillers, you're going to get thrillers. And so the idea is that we can create a reading experience that is perfectly tailored to you, your language level, your likes, your needs. Well, then that's just going to make for a much better experience. And that is essentially what I've built. But it gets better, because then I thought, well, in terms of language learning methodology, how could we improve on our books even further? And I thought, well, vocabulary is kind of the elephant in the room, right? Because we all, when we are reading, we want to learn new words. We want to increase our vocabulary naturally through reading. It's like the most effective way of doing it. And so we want a way to make sure that we're learning vocabulary as effectively as possible. And so I thought, well, what if, as you're reading a story, you could you could look up certain words that you don't know, save those words to your vocabulary list, and then with the next story, it brings those saved words back so that you are now reading a new story with the actual vocabulary that you want to learn and practice. How cool would that be? And so I made that as well. And what I'm essentially doing is using modern technology, which is obviously AI powered, to create something that really adapts as closely as possible to your reading level. And I really think that what we're creating here is the ultimate language learning reading experience. Eventually, our ultimate goal for all of us should be to read native level material. That's what we want to be getting to. That's what makes sense. But unless and until you get there, you need something to support that journey. And so that's kind of what I made. And I'm really excited about it, mostly because I've been using it a lot myself. So I've been reading a lot in Italian recently, and I've been doing that on the app, and I found myself wanting to come back and actually use it and read it every day, and it's really, really exciting. So this is what the app currently looks like, and what you do is you tell us your preferences about how you like to read, the genre that you like, and all of that, and then we generate stories for you. Now, in terms of how we generate them, we're using AI in combination with the methodology that I use to create stories, right? So when I'm writing stories, I have a certain formula that I use, which is, I suppose, what you'd call the story learning method or something like that. And so I've been training AI to follow the story learning method, the way that we like to write stories, to reproduce stories that are really, really good. This is not AI slop. This is really, really good stories. And the stories actually take quite a long time to generate. And the reason is that there's a lot happening behind the scenes where we're not only taking your preferences into account, but the AI is kind of brainstorming great story ideas and then coming up with a very thorough concept for the story to make it very coherent, all based on the way that we write stories at StoryLearning. So it cross-references all of that. And so basically the final result is really, really good. And I know that because I'm enjoying the stories, but also we have a group of about 25 people testing the stories at the moment, and they are rating it and giving us feedback, and the feedback is also really, really good. So anyway, you open the story. I'm hoping you can see this on the screen here. But you open the story. I have an illustration that comes along with the story, and then the chapters look a bit like this currently. We really haven't done any work at all on the reading experience yet, so this is all going to change and improve as we go. But one of the first things you can see is that as you read, you can see here we've got these words which are underlined in yellow, and these words here that are highlighted, they are words that I'd saved in previous stories, right? So it's bringing back this vocabulary. And so as you go through and you read, you see these words coming up. So this is the length of one chapter. Now, if there's any word I don't know, you can tap the word, get an instant translation of that word, and you can save it to your vocabulary if you want. And also, if there is a particular sentence you don't know, you can highlight the whole sentence, and you'll get a translation of the whole sentence. So these tools make sure that we kind of keep the reading going as much as possible. And then when you get to the end of the story, then there is a feedback section, and we ask questions like, how was the level of the story? Was it too easy? Was it too hard? Was it far too easy, far too hard? And then based on the feedback you give, we would then make the next story that you generate slightly easier or slightly harder, a lot easier or a lot harder, depending on what you say. And so we would micro-adjusting the level to match where you like to read. And then we'll ask, was it too long? Was it too short? Which speaks to your tolerance for reading, really. Like, do you like to read short chapters and get through a story quickly, or do you like a longer, more involved story? So basically, if you are reading these stories and you're saying at the end of each one, it's too easy and it's too short, well, then eventually you will get harder stories which are longer, which match your the way that you like to learn perfectly. So in the settings of the stories, you see here that we've got different genres. So I'm not a big fan of fantasy or science fiction, for example, and so I don't have those selected, but I'm perfectly happy to read romance, mystery, thriller, adventure, crime, contemporary fiction. So I have those all selected. And so every time I generate a new story, it's going to be from within those genres. And then we have a vocabulary list, so you can go through and see the vocabulary that you've been learning in all different languages as well. Currently, we've got English, Spanish, French, and Italian. In the fullness of time, we'll probably add some flashcard functions there as well, and along with a whole bunch of other things. But that's kind of what we got. It's pretty simple, and I've tried to keep it as simple as possible because, I have quite a few friends who have made language learning apps. And the thing that is most difficult when you're building a language app is you try to do too many things. And friends of mine who have got into a bit of trouble actually when making language apps, it's always been because it's been far too complicated. They've tried to do far too many things. And so really when I think about this app, and I think about, well, what am I trying to create? I'm thinking about my own learning, my own desire to read in a language. And I'm thinking, what I really want to do is create the ultimate reading experience, where it's quality material that's just right for my level, that grows and adapts with me, that helps me learn vocabulary by bringing it back, that has simple tools to help me read it, look up words or translate phrases when I don't understand, and just remove all the barriers and all the friction to reading. And I think the way that I'm going to position the kind of purpose of the app is to say, look, I'm going to give you a goal to read for 15 minutes a day. Because if you're currently not reading in your language, and the one thing you did was you just started reading for 15 minutes a day, your language level is going to transform. I mean, it's just crazy how much reading helps. And it's not overnight, but over the course of weeks or months, it really, it's crazy what happens. So that's what I got. What do you think? I'd love to have some feedback. If you're on Spotify or YouTube, feel free to leave comments. I'm definitely going to check those out because I'd like to know your reactions to this, frankly. And if you would like to be on the wait list so that you can be considered for a spot when we do eventually open it up for people to join, or you can go to storylearning.com/app. That's it for now. See you back in the next episode of the podcast.